Ms. Hanaa Khamis is an ESOL practitioner and TESOL trainer with an MA in TESOL. Her research and training interests include pedagogy, technology, and assessment. She was the Nile TESOL Learning Technology Special Interest Group Coordinator, take a breath, and Professional Development Committee Chair. Now she is TESOL Gulf BOD member, Japanese Association for Language Teaching, Computer Assisted Language Learning, take another breath.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
SIG Program Co-Chair and TESOL International Affiliate Network Professional Council member. That's quite the resume. So thank you very much indeed, Ms. Khamis. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much again, Paul, for this amazing introduction. You're so kind. And thank you everyone for attending this conference and my session. Apparently, this is a well-attended event. I envy all of you here at Notting Hill College, Egypt. As a matter of fact, I have been working with them since forever. I can't remember when I started with them, and I feel always loyal to get back and work with them. Now, allow me to share another perspective of leadership. I'm not gonna talk too much about, leadership in the sense of the theory of it, maybe how, to develop it in so many ways, but I would like us to explore our own selves and see where we tend to be like in terms of leadership styles. Okay, I hope you feel comfortable exploring your way and discovering your skills along the way here today. So let me just start first by this survey. Okay, it's an adapted survey and it's shortened. It's an abridged form just to try our hands here and see where we stand as different styles are concerned. And just to give you a clue, there seems to be three styles going on here. Not that these are exclusive, there are subdivisions. However, I've chosen to pin them down to these clear styles. We are not going to say which is which now, but just think of yourselves as educators, okay, or leaders of sorts in whatever capacity you are at the moment. I would like you to think who you are and what your characteristics are at this point in time, not ideally speaking, not how you would like to be in the future. Just be honest with yourself. There is no good or bad style at this point, and there is always room for development and making the best of your skills. So keep in mind the scale here. You have a scale from 1 to 4. 1 would be totally unlike me. 4 would be typically like me. There is in between here a 2, which is a little like me, a 3, which is very much like me. All right, so that's the scale we're working with. And that's what we're going to do, as a matter of fact. So we're not just going yet here, but we're going to the link here. Now, there are different ways of going about this. If you have a cell phone, you can scan that QRL code and access that survey right away. If not, you have this link, all right, that you can copy and paste in your browser. So you are able to follow us online and select your choices here. At the end, you're going to receive the results. If all fails and you don't have access to that, feel free now to join me here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you, okay? And I'm going to represent you by majority. So in the chat box, you help me select whether it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4 for each and every item in the survey. Okay, so that's how it's going to be like, just to get a feel for it. But the rest, to get a more personalized experience, I recommend that you go yourself and get a picture of who you really are. You will get the results at the end. Again, if I were you, I would take a snapshot of that, result page. And so we can use it for our later discussion. For the rest of you, you may want to keep a notepad next to you to keep record of your choices, again, to make sure you know which is which. I hope we're ready. Are we? Are we? In the chat box, just put a 1 if you're ready. Apparently, yep. Okay, here we go. And now we're going to look at that all together. Okay, and I'll be again using your guidance here. Link again, let me show you the link again. From the PowerPoint, we already had that, just a second. So once again, let me just copy it and paste it, maybe. There we go. Okay, so just from the chat box. All right, ready. Okay, I'm going to start. Okay, now here we go. Now the instructions, as I've just shared with you. And now here we are. Let's look at the first item together. Now, this is the first item. Now, in the chat box, Gabriel, is the list still there? Just an audio alert. Is it still there? Okay, so I'll just move on. So, is the screen still partly blocked? Is it? The screen is blank? Isn't that weird? Okay. Let me stop sharing and come back again. Okay, probably I need to switch sharing. Okay, I got it. Okay, because I've used the browser now. I think now we're there, aren't we? Yeah, everyone can see it. Yes, now we are there. Okay, now here we go. First item. Okay, still there? Nothing there? Are you sure? Still blocked? This is so sad. All right, if all fails, I'll have to, yes, Isra, blocked. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to simply read out the survey. Okay, so we don't waste time, okay? What I do is share the items verbally and you hear me out. Okay, here is the first item. It says, I cannot make any decision unless I gather group feedback. Again, I cannot make any decision unless I gather group feedback. Once again, all you need to do is just say where you stand. Okay, 1 is the least, 4 is the most like you. All right, so let me just go by the group majority here. So press in the chat box 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I'm gonna select for you. Some of you are already done. Some of you are already done. I think the moderator needs to do something about this. Is the attendee list now gone? Yeah, I can see now. Yeah, somebody saying, okay, now in the chat box, I'll go with a 2. Okay, so I'll go with a 2. Now, how about the following item? Okay, next. Now, the next item, I instruct the group to follow my experience in doing tasks. Again, I instruct the group to follow my experience in doing tasks. Now, let's see the majority here. I can see, yeah, can I have more? Okay, I instruct my team to do their tasks. Okay, all right. So I have a divide here. I'll go with a 2, okay. Now, the third item, group management, structural matters, and final decisions are up to me. Again, group management, structure matters, or structural matters, and final decisions are all up to me. So here we have, I need more responses here. More responses. Yep. Okay, it seems like a 2. Okay, I need to see more at the 2 ends of the scale. Okay, so there we go. How about number 4? The group figures out their own way to make decisions and finalize tasks. The group figures out their own way to make decisions and finalize tasks. Okay, so more responses. Okay, some more. Yeah. So do I have some more? Okay. There is a 7. There is no 7. Okay, seems like we have a 4 here. Okay, how about 5? The group provides me with choices on how to manage tasks. Again, number 5. The group provides me with choices on how to manage tasks. Do we have some more? Okay. Apparently, we have a majority of 2 or 3. How about 3? Okay, 6 and the last would be the group makes their own decisions to finish the tasks without getting back to me. Once again, the group makes their own decisions to finish the tasks without getting back to me. Okay, more responses? Okay, apparently we got a 1 here. Okay, now let me share the results here. And one last time, I would like to give it a try. Is it clear to you? Can you see it? Or again, is it partially blocked? Clear. Okay, nice. Okay, so finally. Okay, here are the results according to our selections today. So it says here, the first one, okay, we scored a 15, and here is the key. If you score 35 to 75, it means you tend to be democratic, okay? If it's more, less than that, which is like our choice was 2, we don't tend that much to be so. The second item here, apparently we selected lower than, okay, the style here again. This is the autocratic style, which is authoritarian, and we're going to talk about that in a few. Okay, so we're not, again, that much authoritarian. Okay, how about the third? Now, apparently, again, we are not so much into that, so we're not autocratic. It seems like we're ruling out at autocratic generally, but we'll see about that. Now, the fourth item here, we scored a 75, and this is quite high. Our choice was 4. This one here, the laissez-faire style, laissez-faire in French. So that is quite high indeed. The fifth one here, that's the democratic style. We're on the border here. So yeah, like 50% democratic. The last one here, which is laissez-faire pure, yeah, we have scored very low here. So from what I can see here, we got the democratic as a predominant style, maybe. Let's see, 1 laissez-faire, 1 democratic, okay, and another laissez-faire. So no, 1 and 1, and not for sure autocratic, apparently. So if I go back to our slides and try to figure this out, what do we mean by that? What do these results mean? Now, let's share that together back again and see what this all means. Now, this is a simplified version of the whole survey, and let's take it with a grain of salt because we've selected 2 items each. To get a clearer picture of your profile, you need to have more items, okay, with more, situations that describe you at work, maybe in the class, whatever you were working. So just to get a clearer picture of who you really are, and maybe rule out the personal aspects because we act differently in different places, if you wish. So here we go. So we know which items go with which, okay? So here is the question. Is there a most preferred style? Is there a least preferred style? Apparently there is, okay? Apparently there is. If you were asking about the most balanced, it would be the democratic. Interestingly, what comes next would be the autocratic. Believe it or not, being an authoritarian is seen or perceived as number 2. The least would be laissez-faire, and we'll really see how and why. But here, let's just look at some of the results here, sampling, okay, the responses of different people. So let's see here now the profile, okay, of one of those. And apparently here, that person is less than 50% Democratic, all right? Apparently that's somebody who does not go for 100%. They tend to choose a 3, for example, as you can see here from the responses here. Okay, the first response, which is tends to be democratic, and another one tends to be autocratic, and the last one again tends to be democratic. So on the side of democratic, but a little, autocratic. All right, so no strong preference. Now, maybe this one has a stronger preference. As you can see here, now there is a strong preference, okay, and it's clear from the overall. It's 110 out of 150 Democratic with a low score in the rest of it, okay? So here we go. That person is strongly Democratic. And as you can see from the responses here, there is somehow one laissez-faire trait, which is like, democratic laissez-faire, if you wish. Now, as a second or a third profile would be this one here, again, with very strong predominant profile here and prominent preference, autocratic for sure. This is 100% autocratic authoritarian style, where the person here has selected a 4 in 2 items in particular, as you can see, item 2 and 3. The rest are simply ones, okay? So that person does not prefer any other style in one way or another. So with a mix, as you can see, you cannot be totally this or that. And of course, just so we understand, I'm basing this model or this survey on the model here of a 3-style kind of leadership styles. There are subdivisions, okay, that would come up later, but for me, just for the sake of clarity, so we don't have anything ambiguous, I've selected this one. If we we're going to have a look together at the online results here. I wonder again if there is something here to confirm. Can you see that on the screen? Just confirm that you can see the results on the screen. Yeah, it says here, yes, good. Now here is a group picture, if you wish. Nothing to generalize, but from the responses here. Now, as far as the first item is concerned, the democratic style item here, you can see now there is nothing that strong. It's toward the, okay, very much like me, okay? And interestingly, the second highest would be like least or totally unlike me. Now, the second item, as you can see here, the idea of instructing the group autocraticity, there is a strong preference here. It says a 3 or a 4, interestingly. Now, if you go to the following item, now again, this is the autocratic item. Interesting here, as you can see, when it's to do with the group management, structural issues, decisions, yeah, as leaders, we prefer to have it all in our hands, don't we? Very few would go for the are not up to me. Okay, so look at the fourth. Now this one here, again, it's about how the group works. Okay, and here we do have a divide. However, we do have a strong preference here, a 3. Okay, yeah, the group figures out their way to make decisions and finalize tasks. And this one here tells us now this is being laissez-faire, which is interesting. Now the fifth one, it's about how the group works. And actually it's about making decisions, and before the decisions, who provides choices, whether choices are provided. And as a matter of fact here, seems like it. Yeah, we have predominance here. You listen to the group and the group choices before making decisions. Democratic indeed. Now, the last one here would be the most controversial, as a matter of fact, and I'm glad that I got a 4 here. 4 people responding as strongly, okay, or typically like me. I had a 0 up till yesterday. Nobody would opt for this one, which is people would make decisions and finalize the task without getting back to me. And this would be real interesting because, yes, we still feel insecure somehow. We cannot just leave it to the group here to finalize tasks and, make their own decisions. We gotta supervise. Interesting indeed. Now I'll stop the share here and get us to the discussion. So back to our slides again, where we talk about, this in further detail. So here we go. So now that we looked at the trends, let's just touch upon the styles, the 3 styles quickly. So there are pros and cons and tips for development here. Now the democratic style preps the group for promotions. They are going to be future leaders somehow, whether students in the class, okay, or, co-workers, employees. Yes, it does prepare them. So this is important to perceive as you, from your side as a leader. Second thing, it increases their awareness, okay, and acceptance of changes. Very important. Life is all about change, okay? So how can you possibly accept that without you practicing the whole process of being democratic? It's very challenging. Keep in mind the downside. Time consuming for sure, needs a strong leader to mediate discussions. Discussions could be hijacked, could be dominated by a certain member of the group. So your role is pivotal here to minimize time wasted and stop any sort of dominance. So encourage good communication, provide close monitoring, and be the decision maker when it's the right time for you to butt in and interfere. Being, an autocratic, authoritarian leader is not so bad. So if you score high on this, don't feel bad or guilty. Sometimes, and most of the times really, mostly we experience autocratic leadership ourselves. I'm guilty of that. In certain occasions, I regretted that and I beat myself over it later on. The upside is it helps you in quick decision making. You don't really have to look at choices. It's your final choice. You just go for it. There is clarity of instructions. The group just follows your lead and get to the task. And of course, there is top-down efficiency. All right, you say whatever you like to say, you decide, and they just, follow the instructions. However, keep in mind what this, process or how it would affect the group. It curbs your creativity or the group's creativity here. So they feel like they're not listened to, with ideas being ignored. It might, and most of the time, it could demotivate your group. So keep that in mind if you practice that. Let's not forget there isn't a way, and there is room for development for sure. You can demonstrate respect to people around you so they don't feel ignored. They're not, demotivated, and they're not shut down. This is important. You acknowledge their input and expertise. Everyone has some input and expertise to put into the process. And you need to recognize, individual and group accomplishments. And finally, you gotta refrain from criticizing your team members or group members in public. I'm guilty of that, and I regret it terribly. Now, this is something to do with a laissez-faire style, which is, it sounds good. Laissez-passer, laissez-faire. That's the French saying. However, it's not necessarily the best. Now, it does have its upside, of course. It does empower the group. They carry a lot of responsibility, and that makes them feel good. And it does create a relaxing atmosphere because there is little or maybe no micromanagement on your side. They manage their own selves. All right. So, however, here, the research says otherwise. Apparently, it's the least productive and the least effective among all three styles I've chosen here to share with you. Apparently, you need to practice, different, strategies in order to make the process more productive and more effective. All right. And mind you, this process could be pressurizing, could be stressful to group members if they don't have enough support from you or no resources to help them finish the task. So you just don't leave it up to them to find their own way, find their own resources all the time. This really is unproductive. There is high decision making going on and uncertainty. Who's the leader in the group? And again, that could be problematic. So again, keep that in mind. You need to do something about it here to overcome these issues by providing resources, clear deadlines for all, changing group leadership if necessary. You need to do that if you find inefficient leaders or group leaders. All right, now time for you to share with us here your own preferences for the last part of our session today. And I hope Daniel, maybe, or Paul can help the audience unmute themselves. Is it possible? Or is it going to be all in the chat? Gabriel, yes, of course, I'm sharing the whole thing. Don't worry about it. Yes. Can we share?
I think it's possibly better to write in the chat, just because if we unmute all participants, it could get a little bit chaotic.
No worries, I understand. Yeah. So I'd be happy to receive some of your responses in the chat box. So our first discussion question here. Your own preferences here. What's your leadership style as far as you are concerned as an employer? All right. And think of your context, whatever you are, whatever you're working. Okay. So any preferences here? Let's read some of those. Okay. Now I have Samia saying Democratic, Slima saying the same thing.
I won't unveil their name, but I had a direct message for somebody who's gone autocratic.
Autocratic. Okay, that person indeed. I'd like them to share the reason why. If you would like to share that in private, I don't have a problem. But I really am looking at, the reasons behind that. I can see responses like a mix of the three, eclectic approach, a mix of autocratic and democratic. It's about being helpful, democratic, supportive, and responsible. There is a strong tendency to prefer democratic, but realistically speaking, is it applicable? Is it functional at this point in time in your work place? Is it there? Now, here I can see, now it's important to be autocratic. I can see that, Samia. Bilqis says, depends on the situation, person, group you're dealing with, all right? Now, again, it's all about depending on the situation. It all depends. Now, do you experience democracy from your employers? That's the question. It's gonna come up next. Now, Dr. Amira says, there is a conflict of interest. When it's to do with conflict of interest, a leader could resort to the autocratic approach. You gotta butt in. Now, the nice thing about, democratic and helpful, encouragement. Okay, Magdalene has just given us the bottom line. No democracy whatsoever. I like your courage here. Let's be fair and square. Laissez-faire summer, okay, would fit or will fit with high school students. Are you sure, Summer? High school students, laissez-faire, let them do what they like. They lead their own tasks and implementation of work. Are you sure? Interesting, Summer, if you could elaborate. Now, all right, Summer, you're quite brave if you apply that in your context. I'd love to hear more from you about that. All right, now, okay, Wallet says, now the best choice for me is autocratic, okay, especially with, young learners. She believes that it's more related to classroom management and discipline. That would be a debatable issue, Wallet. Keep that in mind when you're talking classroom management. You're the boss at the end of the day, but keeping it all autocratic, you might have some certain question marks. At work, now this is like, cutthroat business, and here is the issue. So anyways, I'll take it at this point. Interesting here from Sihan, democratic with motivation, and democratic but with autocratic sort of traits. Innovation, motivation. I like all these contributions, and allow me now to ask you the second question. Now, which leadership style are you most passionate about? Okay, this is like about your future you, all right? It could be your present and future you. If you would be a leader, okay, higher level management leader, okay, how would you see yourself? All right, okay, so I'd like to see from you here. An autocratic leader, Rana, that's how you see yourself in the future. That's how you'd like to be? All right, interesting, if it works for you. All right, Samia says here, causing change. So effecting change, what kind of leadership style would effect change? Now, being fair, Magdalene, again, which style do you think is going to make you fair? Dr. Amira says, my preference is the democratic style. Okay, interesting. If you're running the show, being a Democrat at work, that would definitely reap results. Now, democratic delegative. I like the word delegative. Keep it up because we're going to look at it here at the end. Autocratic with a pinch of democratic. Okay, nice. So just drips of democratic. A mix of the three? Yes. Okay. And good. All right. Now, how about the third? All right, let's look at the third. All right. Okay. If you, what can you do as an educator to gradually build your own skills? leadership skills as a person on the personal level, if you would like to enhance your own abilities as a leader, how? All right. Think of yourselves here. Now, I'd like to be a better person, a better leader, whether in class or work. So, what would you personally do so to improve yourselves and abilities? How can you work on yourself? All right, here is interesting. Sameh. All right, that's how you practice leadership in your class. Nice. Now, rapport and relationships, learning from other people, definitely. Adaptation, being flexible, learning to listen and empowering people. Yeah, interesting. Knowing the abilities of the group, nice. Showing initiative is great. Train yourselves to improve your growth mindset. I love that. Being in touch with others, learning to listen again, communicate, talk less. All right. Attentive to little things, respect, help, support. Okay, nice. Delegate, interesting, Maha. Here, it's about the needs and demands. Okay. Respecting, listening, and listening to others, and learn how to improve yourselves. And that's the question, how? Doing some research, listening to other people's experiences. Nice, Miriam. That's very important. Yeah, that makes an impact. Professional development. Yeah, courses in leadership. Now, practicing. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Nice. Small teams, be humble, and then you can spread. Being a role model. Flexibility, learning from others. Yeah. Try to embed all different perspectives. Nice. Plan well. All right. Evaluate yourself, practice, and master your needs. Nice. Taking risks. Very interesting. All right. Allow me now to wrap up. All right. Here we go. Now, I'd like to leave you here with this quote on leadership and how you should be as a leader. If you want to do a few small things right, do them yourself. If you want to do great things and make a big impact, learn to delegate. I'd like to leave you with that. And back to you, Dr. Amira, Paul, and Gabrielle. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Miss Hanaa. That was brilliant. And it was so good to see so many of the viewers contributing and creating a really exciting discussion.